A very good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV's 8 p.m. news broadcast. My name is Nondobego Nzapkelwago. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The Prime Minister joins the United Nations 75th anniversary celebrations. The Prime Minister today toured the Nsingweni Pro Base and Manzini Interchange projects. The Acting Minister of ICT, Mangoba Khumalo, says there is a need to enact laws that will fight cybercrime and other internet-related crimes. The news in detail. Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini says the United Nations has been consistent in supporting the country's development efforts and working with Eswatini along the journey of uplifting the standard of living for all Emaswati. The Prime Minister was speaking during the United Nations 75th anniversary celebration at the UN head office in Mbabane.
Is an international organization founded in 1945 after the Second World War by 51 countries committed to maintaining international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations, and promoting social progress, better living standards and human rights. The Kingdom of Eswatini joined the United Nations 52 years ago. The local office of the United Nations celebrated the organization's 75th anniversary that was attended by the Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini and cabinet ministers. Speaking during the celebration, Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini said when His Majesty King Mswati III commemorated the 75th anniversary of the UN together with other leaders at the General Assembly virtually last month, he congratulated the organization for building an international system of collaboration and common purpose.
The United Nations has been consistent in supporting our development efforts and working with us along the journey of uplifting the standard of living of all Emaswati. Just yesterday, we signed the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework for the period 2021-2025, a commitment to working together for the common good of all Emaswati. May I take this opportunity to congratulate the UN family and all partners on the successful signing yesterday of the cooperation framework after wide consultations that took into account the plans and strategies that government has put in place to enhance economic development and to improve the welfare of all Emaswati.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Thuli Dladla, reiterated the importance of this year's United Nations theme.
The theme, the future we want, the UN we need, reaffirming our collective commitment to multilateralism, is pointing the way forward for our peace, security, and holistic development.
UN Resident Coordinator Natalie Ndongo says through the organization, member states have accomplished global peace treaties, peacekeeping, decolonization, set human rights standards, reduced poverty levels and hunger, given life-saving humanitarian assistance, and enhanced the protection of the planet. In Eswatini, there are 16 United Nations organizations. For the first time in the history of the local office, the organization awarded government ministries and organizations that it works closely with that include Nature and NDMA amongst others. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Cybersecurity in Mbabane.
Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini says it is known that infrastructure development is at the core of any developing nation. The Prime Minister further stated that road infrastructure, for example, is the conduit within which countries interlink and interconnect, thereby improving inter- and intra-Africa trade. He was speaking during a tour of the Luvek Timleni Pro Base and the Manzini Interchange projects, respectively. We will continue with that story in a short moment. The acting minister of ICT, Mangoba Khumalo, says there is a need to enact laws that will fight cybercrime and other internet-related crimes. The minister was speaking at Maguka Lodge in a meeting with the ICT Portfolio Committee members.
Cybercrime is still becoming a growing concern in Eswatini and globally, which calls for a need to have laws regulating the use of the internet. The acting minister of ICT, Mangoba Khumalo, had a meeting with the ICT Portfolio Committee in the House of Assembly where they were discussing 3 ICT bills. The minister says Eswatini still needs to enact laws to fight cybercrime in order to protect consumers and the nation at large.
Eswatini is no exception to cybercrime, and with this staggering increase in commercial crime, concerted effort has been taken by government and the private sector to ensure safe use of the internet for all its citizens. It is imperative that the country develops the related laws to create a safe cyberspace and enabling environment for doing business and safeguarding social interest of citizens. Even though the cyberspace is a very fluid and dynamic environment, we have tried as a ministry to make the legislation tight and stringent to serve as an effective deterrent to would-be criminals. The cybercrime bill covers quite a number of offenses and provides for appropriate sanctions for each. When it comes to the sanctions, our thinking was really, Mr. Chairman, international criminals, and saying how do we discourage and deter international criminals from encroaching into our cyberspace.
The ICT Portfolio Committee chairperson in the House of Assembly, Makford Sibanze, pledged to support the ministry and assured the minister that these bills will be laws soon. He says the workshop has been successful and an eye-opener for them.
We'll make sure that we assist the ministry, the minister, and consequently the whole country in making sure that we also listen to the voices of the people, the public interest.
Eswatini has formed partnership with Interpol to fight cybercrime through the Royal Eswatini Police Service. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kian MCB, Makuka.
The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, on Friday launched a backyard garden program at Chiselweni 2 constituency. The minister says the program is aimed at mitigating the severe effects of climate change, particularly drought, which is negatively impacting agriculture production endeavors of the country. Mabuza says the program will ensure food and nutrition security at household level.
The Backyard Garden program was officially launched last week by the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, at Nzingeni constituency in the Hoho region, and it is going to cover all the 4 regions of the country. Today, the Minister launched the program in the Chiselweni region at the Chiselweni 2 constituency. Speaking during the launch, the Minister for Agriculture says they are motivating each household under the Chiselweni 2 constituency to have a backyard garden for growing vegetables and raising livestock for consumption.
We saw it fit that maybe if we can launch a program like this one that we call Backyard Garden, and then we decided to form a slogan that says, let's eat what we produce. Asidle kwethu. So we are encouraging all homesteads in the kingdom that at least we must have a garden 7 by 7 meters at minimum. The production that you do at homestead level, you can generate some income.
300,000 seedlings from NAMPOD have been injected in support of the Backyard Garden program. The CEO of NAMPOD, Siphepiso Dlamini, says each constituency will receive a total number of 5,000 seedlings, which will be evenly distributed to homesteads under each constituency.
We are very privileged to be part of a Backyard Garden program instituted by the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that food and sustenance and security needs are met. We will be working with the ministry to be checking on them, following up, encouraging them, and we believe if all of us can embrace this program, there will be better food security in the country.
Member of Parliament of the Shiselweni 2 constituency, Stridom Banza, thanked the Ministry of Agriculture for making sure that all constituencies benefit from this program.
Thank you so much. I'm actually over the moon with joy for having hosted the Honorable Minister for Agriculture in such a very interesting and needed project. We are very much grateful as a constituency.
The Minister for Agriculture says the Backyard Garden program is in line with His Majesty King Mswati III's vision of a first world status by the year 2022, as well as the fulfillment of the first 3 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 1 being no poverty, goal number 2 being zero hunger, and goal number 3 being health and well-being, which are all designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Ngomalo with Muvashong.
The Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, says the Management Board of Eswatini Environment Authority should work with diligence and work to improve the state of the environment in the country. The Minister was speaking on the occasion of the introduction of the new Management Board of the Eswatini Environment Authority.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, has introduced the new Eswatini Environment Authority Management Board. The minister says the board should work to promote the protection of the environment in different areas, such as the Clean Eswatini campaign, and ensure sustainable use and management of natural resources.
During your term in office, the new appointed governing board must have not more than 4 meetings per financial year, and should there be a need to discuss pressing issues, the board is allowed to have 3 extraordinary meetings to discuss these issues per year. A request to exceed the stipulated number of meetings per year must be approved by the minister. As we welcome the new management board, please ensure that you work closely with the ministry to ensure the enactment and promulgation of the pending legislative drafts. We are also expected to appoint a new executive director. The institution has been without a substantive executive director since 2016. This is not acceptable a situation for a parastatal. Chairperson wayo umfundisi Mfanaleni Mkhatshwa elobe kavela khona na iTolo, bese kuba na Nompumelelo Msibi, bese kuba na Mlungisi Simelane, kube na Eric Mazia na elobe kakhona iTolo, kube na Thembinkosi Mvubu, kube na Hlopsile Sikhosana lobe kakhona na iTolo, bese mabhalana wabo kuba nguShelly Motsa longiyena executive director.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, wished the new board success and also appreciated the previous management board for work they have achieved while in office. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Musim Konda in Babane.
And returning to our second story, Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini says it is known that infrastructure development is at the core of any developing nation. The Prime Minister says road infrastructure, for example, is the conduit within which countries interlink and interconnect, thereby improving inter- and intra-Africa trade. He was speaking during a tour of the Luvik Timleni Pro Base and the Manzini Interchange projects, respectively.
The Prime Minister continued with his tour of development projects that have been undertaken by government that include road infrastructure. On Friday, the Prime Minister toured the Pro Base project from Luve to Nsingweni and the First World Manzini Interchange project. Speaking after the tour of the project, the Prime Minister said 2 years ago, the Kingdom of Eswatini embarked on an economic transformation journey, a journey which is well documented in the strategic roadmap 2019 to 2022.
One of the strategic goals of the roadmap is to create an environment within which Eswatini, investors and all who live in Eswatini can thrive. It further seeks to make Eswatini an efficient, dependable and modern kingdom. This roadmap fits directly into His Majesty King Mswati III's vision of attaining First World status by year 2022. It also links to the National Development Strategy and the National Development Plan. We all know that infrastructure development is at the core of any developing nation. Road infrastructure, for example, is the conduit within which countries interlink and interconnect, thereby improving inter- and intra-Africa trade.
The Prime Minister says the construction of the roads will improve overall accessibility for business to provide goods and services and people to access education, employment, basic services and reduce transport costs. QNE Member of Parliament Michael Masugu thanked the government for the pro-base and appealed for speed humps to avoid accidents. Mapalaleni Member of Parliament Mabulala Masego also thanked government for the project and appealed for assistance with the construction of bridges. The Pro-Base project, which will cost around 1.6 billion emalangeni, started in 2017 for the construction of 200-kilometer Pro-Base in 27 constituencies and is expected to be complete by 2021. The Manzini Interchange project will cost over 400 million emalangeni and will be completed in February 2022. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Sibusiso Ngubane in Manzini.
People of the Republic of Taiwan under the Twilight Project have donated personal protective equipment to the Eswatini College of Technology and Kwamile Voktim. The equipment was received by the Ministry of Education Principal Secretary Bertram Stewart.
People of the Republic of Taiwan under the Twilight and Tibet Project have donated personal protective equipment to Eswatini College of Technology and Kwamile Voktim. The Chief of Taiwan Technical Mission in the Kingdom of Eswatini, Fernando Ye, says they saw it important to assist the institutions, especially in ensuring that students are protected from the disease, as they believe that students are the future and should have first priority.
Since COVID-19 spread, my government tried to assist our ally country, especially our best friend, the Kingdom of Eswatini. I think that's the reason why today we have this Twilight project. The reason why actually 4,000 masks, 132 liters, 70% alcohol, and some IEC, the information, education, communication.
The Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Bertram Stewart, says the Kingdom of Eswatini is very grateful for the support and says there's a great need of personal protective equipment in different institutions in the country.
These facilities are directly meant for the students of ECOT, which was previously SCOT, and Kwamile Voktim, the technical center that we have in Matsapa. We're very grateful to the people of Taiwan because this donation actually comes to the people of Taiwan, not from the government, as has been the case in the past. And we're very excited to notice that the relations that we have as a country.
The continuous support from Taiwan proves that they are good friends of the Kingdom of Eswatini, as they have been of great assistance ever since the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country. For Eswatini TV, I'm Temalangin Dlamini with Gianim Sibi, Matapa.
Eswatini still has a high number of women who give birth to stillborn babies and women who have miscarriages, as over 500 women have had this experience since the beginning of 2020 until now. This was said by the SRH program manager in the Ministry of Health, Bonsile Nhlabati, who advises pregnant women to visit the nearest clinic upon discovering that they are pregnant.
Last week, the World Health Organization issued a report signaling that every 16 seconds, either a pregnant woman miscarries or an infant is born as a stillbirth globally, which translates to 2 million babies being born dead every year. In Eswatini, there were 764 stillbirths last year, with Hoho region being the worst affected, followed by Manzini region. While the year 2020 is not yet over, there have already been 572 stillbirths and miscarriages in the kingdom, with Hoho region still being the worst affected, followed by Manzini region. Sexual Reproductive Health Unit Program Manager in the Ministry of Health, Bonsile Nhlabati, says miscarriages and stillbirths in Eswatini are caused by a number of factors.
This is alarming, and there are many causes that could cause that. One of it that it could be during pregnancy if the mother was not able to come to go to the antenatal clinic, or even if she was. It's important that whatever illness or problem that she has is taken care of. It could be either there is an illness like an STI. That STI has to be treated, and sometimes it takes longer. And if she comes maybe at the last trimester, then again we might not be able to help the baby, and you find that the baby, just before she delivers, the baby dies in the utero. And again, that can also happen when she comes in the facility and the baby starts to due to the contractions, then the baby can start, the heartbeat can slow, and then again the baby can die.
Nhlabati further explained that apart from women not receiving adequate medical treatment, there are many causes of stillbirths and miscarriages in Eswatini, including lifestyle habits such as smoking and drinking during pregnancy. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengwen Love with Mbongwatobe at Mangayane.
Eswatini, the news will continue after a break.
We've been drifting, lost at sea. You're so far.
Bring the family together with great specials. Like Huggies Nappy Pants Jumbo Pack for only $149.99 and Lux Soap. Buy any two for just 16 emalangeni.
I'll be your lighthouse and bring you back to me.
We're here for you.
All I really want this season, la 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 la, is to win a brand new bucky.
Get the season savings at OK, like Bocomo Wheat Bix for a low $38.99, Nescafe Classic for just $59.99, and Dew Fresh UHT Milk for only $69.99.
Swipe your count on card to enter, and you could win a bucky too.
OK, owners you can count on.
At Build It, you can do it with the ultimate workhorse. So load up at Build It and you could win one of 10 Nissan NP200 buckies. Plus, over 380 Stanley toolkits up for grabs. Hurry, promotion ends 14 November. Build it.
And in our sports news today, Joe Dlamini, who is in charge of Discuss Throw, says there's a need for the sport to be played in schools, as that will play a significant role in developing the sport in the country. Dlamini was speaking during a tournament of Discuss Throw at Mavuso Sports Center.
Discuss Throw is one of the sporting courts in the Kingdom of Eswatini that needs more attention in terms of improving the standard of the sport. Joe Dlamini, who's in charge of competitions of the tournament, says there is a need to introduce the sport at school level so that the standard is improved.
Because tikola tonke kokhanza ukuthi tiya computer so inangabe tikola titinende ti computer kusho ukuthi inombolo yebantu laba aware of the sport baba baningi.
Sakile Dlamini started playing the sport back in 2010. She's explaining what is required for one to play the sport.
High school board 2010, yeah. But no sona sitting ukuthi ube umuntu lo physically fit.
Tumsan Fakutse started playing the sport back in 1994. She says majority of people, especially members of the public, do not have the love and the passion for the sport.
Ma concentrate la kuma track events abakunaki lokho so nasingaqala ukuthi sibe nabo laba concentrate ngapha kuma field events singakhona khuphuka ngaleyo ndlela.
If one is to see the sport improving, there is much needed attention for the public to be taught on how to play the sport for the future and a better standard of the sport itself. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Manzini.
The Referees Association in the country says it is pleased with the number of women referees in the country. According to the chairperson, Sipho Dlamini, as an association, they want women referees to start officiating in matches.
Women's football in the country seems to be growing daily as they have been playing league games regularly and they have now started playing knockout tournaments. What still seems to be an issue, though, is that there are very few female referees who officiate during these games. The Eswatini Referees Association chairman, Sipho Dlamini, says they want to have female referees officiating all women football games in the country.
Vele kusasinika i-challenge ikakhulu lengakusho ukuthi bayesaba. Naloko ukuthi ke bomma ke vele banako lokho ukuthi babukane nje abuke lo munye nalo munye bese sowuva ngazi ukuthi sebagcinelana.
Kunene says what actually helps them is the growing number of women football teams, but it is still a challenge for them as an association. He says football needs women referees more now that there are women who are playing the game, so they want to increase the number of female referees so that all women football games will be officiated by female referees.
Ngoba sokhanza ukuthi ibhola yabomma ke sekugcwelena labafana kani siye sizama lokho ukuthi ingasinayo le bhola yabomma ke ingajajwa ngibona labomma.
This past weekend during the referees physical test, out of the 48 referees that attended there were only 6 female referees. The association says they are working on ways to increase this number in the coming years. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi, Manzini.
Eswatini, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. But before we wrap up, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. Prime Minister joins the United Nations 75th anniversary celebrations. The Prime Minister today toured the Nsingweni Pro Base and Manzini Interchange projects. The Acting Minister of ICT, Mangoba Khumalo, says there is a need to enact laws that will fight cybercrime and other internet-related crimes. We've come to the end of our news bulletin, and up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.